What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Connor with TGN here and VMRPtv, and welcome to the paintball show here on TGN. Or if you're watching this on my personal channel, good on you, and you are probably not watching this as part of any show. But if you're watching this on TGN Central, then you can go ahead and click on the paintball show and subscribe there. Or you can check out my personal channel, which is VMRPtv, where you'll find a plethora of paintball stuff and just all kinds of gaming stuff there as well. So let's jump right into this, guys. This is still day one of CPX. The first video that I did, you can click the link on screen near the top, and that'll take you back to the previous video. But that video is the like the life before this. So we got out, we went and refilled paint and stuff, and then we came back in. Now what we're trying to do here is push through these little bunkers all the way up to Armageddon, which that is another city away. So it's kind of like pretty far. Their team is pushed all the way up to these little, like, inflatables, so it's kind of like speedball up there that's being played almost up there. So, the guy you see in front of us is the farthest our team has pushed. In the woods, we're pushed about just as far. The big thing we're waiting on to be able to push forward more is our woods being able to push forward. So, that's kind of what we wait for. You can't really push this area unless you have the woods. Now, if you guys are looking at this and being like, what the hell is a marker and pods and all of those things, you can go ahead and check out the first video, and that will help out quite a bit explaining what those things are, because I'm not really going to go into detail on what those things at the bottom are. But do note that the pods remaining thing is actively being tracked, so as I use pods or as I give people pods, they do disappear, so you guys can know how much paint I have left. So, anyways, I'm kind of stuck here. There's nowhere we can push up because it may look like it's open and it may look like you can push forward, but the forest, we don't really have that, so we're getting shot from the left side, and that's kind of our biggest problem. Now, that being said, I am fast forwarding through this part right here because we do wait here a little bit, so we're at like 2 times fast forward. Now, this ref was randomly chronoing guns. Now, chronoing basically just makes sure your gun's not shooting too fast or too powerfully. So I passed. He was just like, hey, you know, you're good. I was just kind of asking him a few questions about like why they were randomly chronoing people. And he's like, yeah, you're good. So then he leaves. And now it's me and this guy next to me, and we're getting ready to push forward a little bit more. Now, I called out that I was moving up to here. Now, I am the most forward person right now. I do have someone to the right of me, a tiny bit further maybe, but for the most part, we're at the furthest point right now. Now, I did try to wipe off my camera, and I do apologize. It is a little blurry, and there's not really a lot I can do to fix that. It is blurry like this for the next 2 minutes, and I do wipe it off, or I have someone wipe it off for me, I believe. But it is a little blurry, and the reason for that is paint is oil-based. It's like a vegetable oil type thing, so you can eat a paintball, but that's kind of why it smears a little. It's a little smear all over the camera. It is a vegetable oil type base, so you could eat a paintball, but it helps with washing things off, and they use the white paint, so their equipment stays clean. Yeah, so that's that. A little bit of random facts. You can go ahead and eat a paintball. They do taste very nasty, though. Anyways, we can't push forward from here because their team is actually pushed up on the right side and the left side. As you can see, kind of random paintballs flying by. If you really pay attention, you can see a few of them, as you can see right there. There are quite a few. Now, the guy in front of me, he did get out, so it's just me, for the most part, being able to push forward, which is tough. I hate being the most forward person without someone to the left or the right of me, at least. And in like 5 or 6 minutes, spoiler alert, I was the first person to run into the city, the first person to run onto the hill, and all kinds of that kind of stuff. I like to be that first person, you know. As I talked about in the last video, I like to be the person getting shot at, because it's kind of fun. So anyways, unloading on the guy to the right of me. There are 2 people, basically, and they kept running, or their team is kind of behind this little X type of inflatable back there. And you can't really see it because the camera's on a weird angle for whatever reason. Which, don't worry, it does get fixed in about a minute or 2. But anyways, where you can see to the right, they keep running up there, and there's 2 guys that come in a minute. I get both of them out, and I believe you can see me get one of them, but I'm not sure if you can see me get both. But up in the top left there, you can see where they are. They're over there. And then as well to the left, we're still slowly pushing forward in the forest. Now, this whole Living Legends things, fighting over the city, really revolves around the forest, and whoever can fight through the forest the best usually can get the city. But it's kind of like a tennis match, because after the blue team pushes us back this far, they run out of paint and have to go back, and then their team slowly gets pushed back, and then we run out of paint and they slowly push us back. It's kind of like a tennis match. But anyways, at this point, this is when the 2 guys run forward, and I guess you can't really see it too well, but I do start yelling for the ref and having, or start waving my hands to get him waved down, so that way we can get a ref to at least check and see what's up. So I did use one pod, so now we're down to 3 pods, which, you know, it's not a huge deal. We aren't pushed very far, and I haven't really done much. I think I got 1 or 2 people out. So 1 pod for 2 people is a pretty good change in my opinion. Now the thing is that there are 2 people there, or 1 person I believe is still there, so I'm kind of just putting a few paintballs over there. We do have a few guys behind me, and they're laying down some fire as well, so I don't really have to worry too much. I just have to make sure that I'm not getting lit up from anywhere. And for the most part, we're pretty good from there. So, you know, the biggest problem is we have people that like to sit there and not do much, as you can see. I'm calling out for people to move up to somewhere or anywhere, because I'm still the person that's moved up the most, and it's kind of tough for me. As you can see, paint is actually still being shot at me from somewhere. I'm not really sure. We have 2 people here that came from the woods, so we have pushed up there quite a bit as well. And the biggest thing, too, is once you're a certain distance from a paintball gun, or paintballs get shot like in their 100 yards, 200 yards, they actually start to slow down enough where they don't break. So what happens if you get hit by a paintball and it doesn't break, you're still in. You're not out if you get hit and it doesn't break. Now, if the paintball does break, then you're out. But if you get hit and you legitimately go, ref, I got hit, did it break? The ref will tell you yes or no. And if he says no, but you still say you got hit, you're still in. It's just a matter of the paint broke. The biggest reason for that is because a lot of people like to cheat or break the rules and bring their own paint. And if you do, you can get kicked out of CPX for the day or whatever, or get your paint taken away, because it's how they make their money is from paint. Because entry is like $20, and if it costs them millions of dollars to make the field, then they're not making a lot of money. Now, Living Legends is a different story, but yeah, 'cause it's like $65. Now, I'm laying down on my back, and I'm lighting up the right side. The problem is I'm looking down a little bit, and the gun's in my way. But there's not too much action. I don't think I got anybody out. It was just more kind of like a cover fire type of thing. Now, as you can see in the front right there, that's where the people were running. And yeah, so you can see where they were, and they still are there a little bit. Now, I tapped this guy on the shoulder. He's my buddy. He's Blake Ripes. He's one of the guys I was running with. He asked for a pot of paint, so I'm like, sure, take it. So I give him a pod. Now I'm down to 2 pods. And yeah, so at this point, we are all in a good position because we have people to the right of us there and people to the left. Now, we did have one of our guys run out there. I don't think Blake got hit there. I did tell him he was in. I don't think he actually ended up getting hit. I think it hit him, but it didn't break. But anyways, we do have someone move forward on the left, and on the right we have someone laying there, but we are getting lit up quite a bit. And yeah, you know, I mean, it happens where you get kind of stuck in this weird spot where you have like 5 or 6 people behind one little thing of cover. But we do end up pushing forward a little bit more here as well, which you'll see in a second. Now, the biggest thing is, since I did give him 1 pod, I am going to be running a little bit low in paint, but it's not really too big of a deal. So I tell this guy I'm going to be popping out on the left and covering him. Now, the thing is that they are still in the forest. Our team is standing still in the forest to the left of us, which you'll see in a second. They kind of are standing there, and I think it's a little bit forward from here. But I'm yelling like you guys push up towards, or more towards the forest. You can see people walking around there. But the biggest thing is, once we clear the forest, we can clear the city. And this guy's like, yo, cover me, I'm going to run forward, and then he tripped. So that's always fun. You know, it happens, though. And this guy's all super ninja. He's ready to go. So anyways, I move forward here, and I'm like, yeah, I'll squat down behind here. Why not? So, you know, we're slowly pushing forward through the little speedball area, and we've pushed up quite a bit, probably about 50 yards now, and we still have more to go. So I'm moving up as fast as I can. I'm now with this guy as well, and I'm able to stand up without getting too lit up. This being said, though, their team is still all around us. Now, I'm getting lit up from the right side. There are 2 people there, as well as to the left, so I have 1 guy covering on the left, and I'm covering on the right. That little pillar right there that's red that I'm shooting at is exactly where someone is. He keeps poking, I cannot speak, poking out over there. So he is there, and I do actually get him out in a second here, so that's good. And also we have some cover fire from the right as well. And now you can see the city is actually in range. So pretty soon here we will be able to go into the city. Now the thing is that there are people to the left, and they did just get the guy right there out. He just got hit. And, you know, it's tough because there is paint right in front of me on the little inflatable here. So as I'm sitting here, it may look like I get out to a ref. And that's kind of the biggest thing, is making sure you're not rubbing against it too much, because then it'll look like you got hit by a paintball. So I'm kind of trying to make sure I'm not too much on it, while at least I'm close enough not to get hit. Now I'm down to 1 pod, which is not good considering we've only pushed about 60 yards, and I'm down, or I've used 2 pods and a hopper, plus I gave 1 away. So I actually get paint a little bit from someone else. He was like, sure, I'll give you some paint, because he was going out anyways. He was almost out of air, I believe, and he gave me some paint. So huge shout out to that guy. I don't know his name, but he did give me some paint. Now, the thing is, there is nobody to the right of us anymore. It's pretty much our team. I think they are there, but they're further back where they can't really get us here. and there is still a little bit going on in the forest as well. So at this point, I wipe off my camera with my arm where it was still a little bit clean from paint, and I do get a little bit more clear for you guys. Because I was trying to stay a little conscientious about the camera being clear. Because I didn't want it to be covered in paint, because that's no fun. It doesn't come out to be a very good video. So anyways, as you can see, there is the city. It's not too far away. Now, their team is all lined up in the buildings there, so it's kind of tough to do anything when you're pushing into the city. Last year, it took us 45 minutes of laying on the hill in front of the city to be able to push. And as you can see, we're still getting hit by paint from the woods. And these guys all right there are just standing there. So I was kind of getting mad at them. I was yelling at them to push forward because we were really getting pinned down while we had 40 guys standing still. And I was just like, this is great. This is really good. But you can see there's the woods. They're literally standing there. And that's what I was talking about earlier. So at this point, I was kind of frustrated too because on the right side, those little inflatables have deflated. They do fill them up, but they've been inflated for a day, so they do slowly leak. And that one might have had a hole in it anyway, so that might be why it's deflated so quickly. Now, I told this guy I'm going to move forward, so he needs to cover me. And I believe he also agreed to cover me, so it was pretty good. I told him I'd try to run forward to the right, I believe, is what I was telling him. But I'm not 100% sure yet if this was where it was. So, I do wait a sec, though. I believe I was trying to get to the front right. Now, this guy was on our team. Or, no, that was a blue guy that got out. So, we don't have anybody red up there yet. There's nowhere really tactically to go from here, which is kind of tough. We're still getting shot from the left side, and we still have people standing there. It was really frustrating. But it was kind of hard to communicate with them. As you can see, we're still getting lit up. But the right side were good as well. So, it's kind of weird where this guy must have been laying down. It's just kind of a weird spot that he was in. Now, that guy does run to one of the deflated bunkers, and it's really a tough spot to be in because you can't really do much. But this gave me the courage to go, hey, you know what, I'm going to go that way. You guys cover me to the left, and it should work out pretty well. And now this guy is just walking forward. I don't think he even realized that people were in the forest, but I think he figures it out pretty soon here as he moves forward. So anyways, he's good, and this guy from the red team did just get out right in front of him as well. And you can see paintball still flying by quite a bit. And it's kind of cool to see that. It looks pretty cool on camera. So anyways, after I cover this guy while he moves forward, I'm going to go ahead and move to the right side as I planned to in the beginning. And this guy does, I believe, cover for me. So that worked out pretty well on our part. And you can see he's kind of on top of the bunker. And that's, like I said, one of the things I don't like to do because it may look like he got shot even though he didn't. Or he got hit by a paint grenade even though he didn't. And how paint grenades work is they're kind of like a balloon that's really tough to stretch. So they fill it up really tight with paint. You pull the pin, you throw the balloon, or you throw the grenade. As soon as it hits the ground, it causes it to kind of squeeze all the paint out, and the balloon kind of deflates. And that's kind of how it works. Paint grenades, though, I don't really like because they're tough to tell if you're in or out or what got you out. If it was kind of like splatter or what it was. So that guy moves forward, and at this point, I'm kind of letting my team move forward a good bit. So I'm like, hey, I should move too. So I go ahead and run this way. I run past these guys, and I get over to this area. And this is where it got good, because this is where I was getting to the mood where I was like, hey, I don't care if I get hit. I really want to push the town. So in a second here, I was just telling these guys, hey, cover me. I'm going to run to the hill. And the hill is the tough part, because right in front of us there's the hill, then there's a ditch, and then there's the city, and then there's the forest to the left of us. So I'm going to cut here and show you guys the audio.
You guys, hey, we can get to that hill. If you guys all cover, I can get to that hill.
Everybody cover this dude.
Cover it! I'm going to the hill! In 3, 2, 1, go! Watch that side!
So that right there, guys, is the sound of about 50 paintball guns going off at the same time to cover me. Now, I just wipe off my barrel because I noticed that there is some paint on it, but there's no shells, so I wasn't hit by a paintball. I was actually from earlier when I was rubbing against the inflatable. So I was just making sure. I obviously was not wiping paint or anything like that. It was just on the barrel a little bit from the actual bunker itself. So that's that. The guy right there, he did get out on his run. So there are 3 of us that ended up making it to the hill. But like I said, I was the first person to charge the hill. I like doing that. That's kind of my style. Now, in the window up front here, there are 2 windows in this left building. And there are people in both of them. So that's something we were trying to watch out for as well. Which is really a tough spot as well, because watching in the window was a little bit, hard, being that we're on a hill. Now, this is the part where last year we got stuck for about 40 minutes because you can't really push forward because the buildings are there. There's no tactical positions. There's no bunker set up. So you literally have to march into the city and you have to just sprint in, which we do in a little bit here. So that's that. That does get done, and it works out pretty well. So I am down to 1 pot of paint, though, so I do have to be a little bit careful about how much I shoot, because I do want to keep pushing through the city. But there are 2 people up there that I'm trying to get out as well. And you can see those 2 windows up there to the left. I'm going to go ahead and freeze the frame. There are the 2 windows there in the door. Those left 2 windows are where people are. Right now they are squatted down, so you can't really see them, but they are definitely there. I've seen them pop up a few times, and there usually are people, like last year, through all the buildings. So there definitely are 2 people there. So back to the action. As you can see here, we're still stuck in the hill, and I did cut forward about a minute or 2 or 3 or 4 or so, just because we literally sat here on the hill because we can't push forward. And about 7 or 8 or so people ran up to the hill, or have slowly reached the hill during that time. So I just wanted to cut out that little boring part that was there. So anyways, at this point, we've actually shot an RPG in the building, so everyone should be out. But the ref really wasn't paying attention over there, I guess, because at this point, we are screaming for a ref, because the ref would not check it and see. And during this time, they're picking off our people, so it was a little unfair, and it was kind of frustrating that none of the refs over there were paying attention, which isn't really good, but, you know, it happens. It's kind of tough to pay attention to a little Nerf rocket hitting a building. And there were no refs near us to go get all the people out. So this guy actually goes ahead and hands me a pod, so I am able to fill up my hopper. And I didn't realize that I had a whole nother pod with me, or I wouldn't have asked this kid for his pod. But I guess I wasn't counting how many I had. But I did tell him I would give him another pod, but I was never able to find him after this tournament, or this part of the day. I just could not find the kid, so he ended up giving me a pod for free, which is nice. It's kind of the unwritten rule of paintball. If someone needs a pod, you give them a pod if you have it, and they'll give it back to you if they can find you. So that's kind of how it goes. So anyways, I moved to the right side just for the reason of, if we push the city, this is the main way in. It's going to the right, because there is a small little pond on the left side, and then there's a tiny little road here. Now, we do have one guy here, and he is laying down. Yeah, he's not a medic. I thought he was a medic for a second. There are also medics. I don't think I've mentioned that at all yet. Basically, the medics can go ahead and get you back in, and they write down your ID, I believe it is, and they basically get you back in. And you can go ahead and get in as long as you're not hitting the head. But if you're hitting the head, you are out. You do have to go back to your spawn. So that's that, and you can see right here, we've already had an RPG hit it 2 or 3 times, and it's getting really frustrating. Yeah, we do eventually get up and push into the city after the ref does come. But we are pretty stuck here, and we're stuck in a weird spot because, like I said, there's nowhere to go forward from here. You can go to the right, but there's not a really great area to push forward. You literally have to run in British versus, I don't know, France, or, you know, like the old lines where you would literally have the first line walk, and then they all get hit out, and then the next line type of thing. That kind of old style of fighting that you have to go through, and it's really tough to do. But you do end up managing after a little while of it. And this guy comes in as well here, and he's like, oh, I'll go for the city, and he's out. You know, some people don't really pay attention, and they're like, why isn't nobody going forward? And then they realize it. But we just start to march in the city, guys. And I do have to cut it here, unfortunately, when we start to run into the city. The reason for that is just because this video is already at 18 minutes, and I do need to go ahead and cut this up. So part 2 of this video will be coming very soon, and that'll be when we march into the city. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up and the favorite. Also, check out my personal channel, which is VMRPtv. Also, check out the paintball show here on TGN, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace.